Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 6 of Sophomore League Runeterra Academy. I am Camcom, joined tonight by Gigatron. And for our best of 3 here tonight, we have first seed versus second seed in Division 2, Tagra versus OMTZ. How are you doing tonight, Gigatron?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. We're well into first ban phases here in game 1. Any particular picks that you're expecting in this series here?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's like you're trying to predict teams and everything like that right now. One, I don't think we haven't seen Golden Age at all. We've only seen Zeus. I think it's the only one we've casted. No, we didn't do Zeus. We did Hades. We did Hades,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we haven't seen either team. Um, I I don't know what I'm expecting. I mean, maybe no Mumu, just because
Oh?
obviously it's been meta for both jungle and support right now, so I feel like that could potentially get picked up by either team, but I think they're just gonna go for okay, first pick MF.
Yeah, Misfortune, I mean, if you've watched Worlds even a little bit, I feel like Misfortune has got probably the highest, probably the highest presence at Worlds picker band. She's B1able just always because you can pick her with Leona, with Thresh, with Braum, even a little bit, but mostly a Mumu, which is, I would say, the most broken support on the Worlds patch, and also a little bit on this patch as well, despite the pretty heavy nerfs to his mana cost on his Qs. So that is going to be picked up here by OMTZ. And just standing wise, right? You have Team Ambition on the blue side here, game 1. They are currently 5-0, holding first place uncontested for themselves, going against, of course, OMT Zeus on the red side here. 4-1, second place. I do believe that is currently a tie. So if OMTZ do take the best of 3 here tonight against Team Ambition, then they will be tied up in first place, 5-1 each.
Right, and we still haven't seen if Project Maverick has won their games yet or not, because obviously they're still playing them right now. So there's potentially, if they win, on top of Golden Age losing, that we have a three-way tie for first. I don't think it's gonna happen, but
No.
if it does, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But we did see the movement did get picked up. We saw Ziggs is picked up now, so that Ziggs could either go bot or mid. And really, obviously, is a toss-up at this point. But like you said, that Leona did get picked up.
Yeah, Leona Misfortune. Leona is just really popular both into and with a Misfortune because Leona ult can cancel Misfortune ult just instantly without having to put herself in danger, right? But then, of course, same thing goes for being with her. You press Leona ult on someone, immediately followed up by bullet time, and then it's basically the same exact thing as a Mumu ult, right? And then I'm expecting this to be an Amumu Ziggs bot lane here for OMTZ, the double AP just to give that little bit of extra damage to Ziggs from Amumu's extra AP passive, right? So it is nice to see that, and with Vex locked in on R3 there, I believe this is the first week Vex is actually allowed here in Runeterra Academy, so a little bit more extra AP damage does definitely mean it's most likely not going to be the Ziggs mid.
No, I mean, it's most likely not, but I mean, you never know, because she could be played elsewhere as well too, because obviously we've seen her be played bot, whether it's in a support or ADC role as the APC mage being down there and everything like that, and then you've seen her be played mid, so it's possibly a toss-up, but most likely I would assume Chitin's the one that's playing it mid.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, Vex is still such a new champion, right? That like you can argue that she's weak and can only be played in one role, but then I've also seen a lot of arguments that it's like she's the strongest champion in the game right now. You could pick her in any role. So like this could be a jungle Vex for all we know. This could be a top lane Vex for all we know. Again, I'm assuming it's not bot lane. I am assuming that it is a Ziggs and Muma bot lane. But anyway, for Team Ambition's comp, I do like Nocturne being picked on R3. He does have a little bit of flex between the mid and jungle. Most likely will go jungle because mid you can't really blind pick a Nocturne mid unless you know for a fact that they're playing a mage mid lane, which is of course Nocturne's best matchup. But locking in Vex after Nocturne does make me think he could go mid lane, but most likely from champion pools going jungle.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. I agree. Like, it's a good mid pickup. Usually, you want a squishy, like you said, the squishy mage usually being there, or it could be even another assassin essentially in that case. And the matchup still usually goes in his favor because he has the shroud to at least block either an ability or a CC that's coming in at him. So, but, oh man, we are coming out the gates real fast with these picks. We get a Braum coming out for OMTZ right now.
Wait, Braum? Wait.
Yeah. So are we getting
Sophomore jungle?
Hailblades, Braum?
Yeah, Hellblade's from top. That's definitely confirmed.
Yeah.
Yep, but no, that is actually going to be an Amumu jungle now. Amumu jungle not nearly as affected by the Q damage and Q mana buffs as it is for lane. Really, it only affects his laning phase. It doesn't really affect him past the 15-minute mark, even though he doesn't build any mana items. So Amumu in the jungle not nearly as affected. Yes, maybe his ganks are going to be slightly less effective after clearing for a while, but still, he's a tank. He can go in, he lands a Q. That's enough setup for any laning phase. So Amumu jungle much less affected than laning or support even Amumu, right? And then both, this Aatrox, I was really hoping for a Tryndamere. I'm not gonna lie, I was secretly excited for a Tryndamere. I don't like talking about hovers because I never believe them, but Tryndamere, man, I would have loved to see it.
Tryndamere would have been great because I feel like, one, it shows that you're a skilled player, because not everyone just will pick Tryndamere just right off the bat. Shows that you've played the champion enough. You understand the kit, you understand what works and what doesn't work with him, kind of a thing. So it would have been cool, but we do get an Aatrox, which Aatrox has been doing actually very well this patch. So it's really scary to kind of see if he starts popping off like right away for Ridley.
I don't know. I have like this weird feeling. I don't know if it was actually like happened or not, but I feel like Gore Drinker was just like secretly buffed without actually telling anyone. I don't remember seeing it being buffed in patch notes, but like all of a sudden, all of these Gore Drinker champions, Set and Aatrox being included in them, are suddenly much more powerful than I remember them being like a month ago. And I'm like, how did this happen? Because yes, I definitely agree. Set and Aatrox are probably up in the top 3, top 4 even of the strongest top laners, especially Set being a very strong blind pick.
Yeah, I mean, Set is a very strong pick. I mean, we're looking at that. He just can perform very well in most lanes, honestly. I mean, the only lane you're probably not going to see him in is jungle, but whichever lane you put him in, I mean, he's just been performing well. I mean, you can take him support. He goes in with Hex Flash. He's just getting those perfect, haymakers into the face breaker and everything like that. So it's kind of just, you're looking at like, oh yeah, this is not going to be good, kind of a thing. So, but in this case, it is a top, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes into Aatrox. I think it'll be fine because they're both going to go Conqueror. It's just one has a little bit more lifesteal with the Aatrox than compared to the Set, who's just going to be more regen based, once he hits, a certain percentage health. So I think it's just more who can last long enough to hit 6 and whose 6 is going to be stronger at that point. I think it's going to be the main deciding factor for the wet noodle fight that we're going to probably have for a little bit in top. But
yeah,
I don't know.
It's largely going to come down to who finds like the early health leads into, like you're saying, an XP lead for level 6. But most importantly, the amount of healing and shielding that both of these champions have, even pre-6, but especially when they do have their ultimates available, that is going to be the real deciding factor of how this top lane 1v1 goes. But I'm not really expecting any pre-6 like actual solo kills on the top lane unless there is actually like assistance from one of the junglers, that being a Mumu or Nocturne, which it is actually a Nocturne jungle now that I realize that. Win conditions for these teams here, right? I see Team Ambition, they have a little bit of a wombo combo the bot lane with the Leona Misfortune that we talked about a little bit, right? But most of their team is largely focused on taking one member down, which makes me think in a specific 5v5, I think it is much more favored towards OMTZ.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because you have to look at so with Vex has really good CC. You're looking at Braum follows up very well with it. Amumu locks down very well. You have Ziggs that can throw the minefield down. Satchels if he needs to, kind of a thing. So, and heaven forbid Aatrox is there. Yeah, Aatrox with the knockups. I mean, if he lands his W where you can get the pullback and everything, yeah, it's very terrifying to kind of look at. Where you look at, okay, you have Leona who can literally just solar flare a couple of them, and they're either slowed or stunned. You have Nocturne who can fear at least. You have Syndra, who she gets enough balls down that she can stun multiple people, with it. So I think, and obviously we have Sat. I mean, dare I say more, on Sat, but yeah, like I think it's very good disengage that we have from Team Ambition to go into this team
Yeah.
comp that's very aggressive coming out of OMTZ.
Yeah, they have a lot of engage and disengage. That is definitely a good way to put it. Because, like, Nocturne's Paranoia can definitely be used for engage. That is what it's really built for. But that doesn't mean that you can't disengage with it. If Mumu goes in with the Q and then there's an immediate Paranoia, the team can't really follow up on that Q ult, right? So it's going to be much harder to land those specific wombo combos. But with that, we are going to be going to a short break here as one of the players is having a little bit of trouble with the Wi-Fi to the game. So we will be back hopefully very shortly with your game one here tonight between Team Ambition and OMTZ. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to week 6 of Sophomore League Runeterra Academy. Once again, I am Camcom, joined by Gigatron here tonight. Team Ambition, currently 5-0, first seed of Division 2, taking on OMTZ. We're finally in the game here, past, hopefully, all the Wi-Fi bugs so far tonight.
Hopefully, I mean, I understand the Wi-Fi troubles. I mean, this is why stay in Ethernet, you know, compared to Wi-Fi. But I'm sure you know as well. I know you like playing on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, man, the power of Ethernet is just far superior. You can't underestimate the power that Starbucks Wi-Fi will do to your ranked games. Like, it's rough. That
Oh,
coffee
it's so
that coffee
true.
machine is gonna cost you a couple solo kills, man. I don't know.
No, I totally understand that. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Is like, do you like if you want to play? Do you play at like one of those things, or you just go to a gaming center? Or some
Oh,
trades early.
try brush 1v1. I mean, we saw them kind of dancing a little bit there in the top side. I wasn't expecting any actual trading. I was expecting a handshake. We're gonna dance it out, but that was not the dancing that I was expecting. It's a little bit more hurtful dancing. They're still doing it.
Yeah, and I think he's realizing for Bonapoli there that he needs to start using his abilities more early on, because then he can burn the pot that little bit faster. He's already got really good regen right now. That he doesn't have to worry about anything. Yeah, like see, like pull him in, get a couple hits in. Now they're about even, but before he was trading a little bit better, where he was coming out kind of on top with the health trades. But oh man,
Oh man, yeah, it's like I like how in Champ Select I was like, you know, I'm not expecting any solo kills up here in the top lane. Like obviously all the solo laners here have taken TP. There's no secret barrier or ignite or anything else that you would typically see, right? It's always the TP, so you don't expect any solo kills, but doing that much damage, especially early on, gives you a little bit more lane pressure for when Warhead does come up to try and take that scuttle. Potentially Bernoulli can roam it down if they do decide to contest the 315 top scuttle.
right, and at this point he probably will come down if he needs to, kind of a thing, just because of the fact that he is being able to push in the Aatrox right now, which should hopefully force maybe the gank out of Warhead right now to come top, and then you're going to see the dad be able to potentially just take that scuttle for no problem or anything like that. They do get the early ward out from set there onto the tribe rush this way. He will see if he does go for that scuttle in that case and everything, but I think it is going to go to the dad there. He doesn't have
Yeah.
smite.
Yeah, it's all right. You don't need smite to take scuttle. You just use smite to I think burn the shield on it, right? But still, it's like a Mumu versus Nocturne pre-level 6. Neither one of them really have a lot of 1v1 kill pressure over each other. 2v2, they are much stronger with each other, as you see Kirito taken real low there on mana, but just not a whole lot of actual HP being taken, as Bernoulli still level 3 finds a level 4 Warhead in his own jungle. Does have red buff for a little bit of extra health regen, so not really going to be any actual kills. But meanwhile, the dad looking for a double scuttle for himself, and I think he was actually able to take it.
Yeah, he does get the double scuttle here in this case. Bot lane already was roaming up. As you see Taco Cat sitting in here in the brush right now, potentially try to get into Chitin here, but probably not going to happen, unfortunately. He needs to go back to this bot lane here to help out Aishan. But yeah, I mean, this is good rotations that... Oh. Okay. We're gonna have
Yeah.
trades. Okay.
I was gonna say, I don't think that mid lane gank would work from Taco Cat because Kaiden did have the fully stacked passive. So if Taco Cat did go in, they would have both immediately been feared, and Kaiden could then make the choice to either go in or back out. And he was at like 10 mana, so most likely back out, I would think.
Yeah, it definitely would have been the back out, of course, but I was just saying like it could have potentially happened because you had Set nearby, but just big trades back and forth. Oh, he's really low.
I mean, Bernopolis, he's fighting a
No.
very large minion wave. I think he would have won that trade a lot harder if the minion wave was just a little bit more thinned. Ridley didn't actually spot out the dad on a ward. He just knew. I'm at a quarter HP. I'm gonna think about it, and I'm a recall, and I like that. Not a lot of top laners do that.
No, as someone who plays top, I probably would have potentially hovered more towards the lane, that little bit more. But I also would have hovered like more towards where his ward is in that brush.
Kirito. Okay.
Yeah.
I made me real worried there for a sec.
Let's quiet down at least now. No, they settled down here in mid lane. Nothing's gonna happen, at least for now. But yeah, you get 2v1 in bot lane right now. It's gonna be 2v2. You got pretty much even CS though. It's not like there's too much of a difference coming out between the Ziggs and the MF there.
Yeah, very even CS across the board. The only real CS lead, and it is still only a 10 CS lead in favor of Kirito on this on the mid lane there for Team Ambition, right? So it's like 10 CS lead can be helpful, but you were down level 6 to Kaiten. So XP does mean a lot more, especially when it is that level 5 to level 6. There wasn't any real punishment for that, but it was there in potential. Now we do have a mountain dragon on the map now. It does look like there's a lot more vision control currently for Team Ambition down on the bottom river there, but not a whole lot of actually trying to start up the dragon.
No, because as you see, Kirito's taking that a little bit of the burst there and everything coming out from Chitin right now. So they are looking to probably just opt to at least get the scuttle here and kind of do like that dragon dance. Maybe try to bait out either the jungler or the bot lane in that case to come down and check and see. But not going to be the case here. Looks like it's just going to be backing off, going back to lanes, going back to jungle, kind of just peering and seeing where Warhead is, which they did see through the vision plant there and everything.
Yeah, this is a surprisingly slow game. I gotta say, these are the top 2 teams in Division 2, right? And they're playing it very slowly, very methodically, completely even goldly. No one trying to go for the dragon quite yet. The only really leads you have right now are in items, and you see you do have a Bramble on Bernopoly up here. That was what we were talking about in Champ Select, right? It's you need heal cut, especially against an Aatrox once he does hit that level 6 mark with the 1v1 with the ultimate potential as well. He has a lot of healing, and if you don't have any heal cut, he could look for potential solo kills here. And it's little trades, little roams like this. Both of the supports always being able to match each other, being able to track each other, just not really allowing any kills happen. Wow, that Q was close.
Yeah, it's just a little unfortunate because the satchel just knocks him out just that little bit farther that Warhead just can't reach. If he waited a satchel, gets the bandage toss off, and then does the satchel, yeah, it would have been a little more safe for them. But now, because of that, they're able to get this dragon started right now for OMTZ right now.
Yeah, Team Ambition having 0 vision, but they are committing the TP from Monopoly on the top side. 5k HP still remaining on the dragon. It does look like OMTZ are just actually going to fully back off, not even looking for a steal. Maybe Ivar steals it with ult. Nah, it's still a really low ultimate. Still only rank 1 there. Kaiten going in though, finds the first blood for himself. Flash ultimate from Warhead. Double kill coming out here for Kaiten. And finally a real lead being found here. 3-0 for OMTZ.
Yeah, and sure, this is kind of what I was expecting was, I mean, I said it to you, I know, and when we were off screen and everything. But I figured Monopoly was going to be doing a TP at some point, either for the drag or either to kind of help out bot lane once they reach level 6. I mean, we see Adi's level 6, but unfortunately Taco Cat's not yet. But unfortunately, the unfortunate outcome is, yes, they get the dragon, but at what cost? 3 lives. It's just not worth it at that point, because now you just give 2 kills to Chitin. And
Yeah.
like we talked about, you see that Vex is very kind of coin flippy, where she either pops off really well and just can get very far ahead, or it's just you kind of just sit there behind and kind of just use your kit to try to help out your team the best you can. But
Rift Herald is going to go the way of Warhead. Now TP going in onto that ward as well here. The dad nowhere left to run. Ivor able to pick up his first kill there, and Carito not allowed to walk away anywhere. Kind of actually flashing in for that kill.
Yeah, Kite uses the flash and everything, and gets another kill, another assist on her right now for Vex. So, yeah, Vex just, again, popping off that a little bit early. It's kind of like, you see like Elise or kind of like those more assassin junglers that need that pressure and everything. It's kind of how I treat it for Vex. Like, you could be like Viego or was it Rengar, or a couple of those, where it's kind of like a feast or famine champion that if you don't get ahead, you're struggling for a little bit, or if you get ahead, now you're able to kind of just farm that little bit more. You're able to just put out really good damage. Like, look at it this way: she already has her Ludens compared to Syndra here. So, and yeah, she's down approximately almost 32, 34 CS right now. So because of that, you could just see that the difference is 1K, just because she has literally the bounty and the extra kills. So yeah, you just have to look at, she's playing it very well. She's trying to use everything that she can to go after them, and yeah, she's being the burst champion that she needs to be.
Yeah, and to think this was all off of that bot lane gank, you wouldn't even consider a successful bot lane gank, right? Warhead walked up to Adi, he missed his Q, and then he was like, you know what? We got Adi out of lane, now we're going to go take that dragon. They unfortunately weren't able to take the dragon, but then finding a double kill for Kain has now basically secured this early game in the favor of OMTZ, right? You got 3-0-2 on Kain. I believe that was around a 10-minute Ludens for him as well, which is pretty huge. That is not a cheap item by any means, and now Kain can look for these split pushes, bringing Kirito down to the bottom lane when they already were able to take mid lane, with that next objective being, I mean, they got the first tower before plates even fell, so now you can transition your largest member, that being your Vex, down to the bot lane, hopefully to look for some more plates and potentially a solo kill, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, and same thing. So all you're doing is literally switching your 2 fed lanes. You already have Ziggs, who's doing really well. Throw him mid. He's a very good sieger.
Oh, Kain going in with that ultimate there. Kirito taken down real low, just about able to dodge that Q. And Kain, unfortunately, not having that flash available, is not able to fully secure that kill for himself. But just now, you see Ziggs forced to flash over the wall. The dad not going to follow it up with his own flash, just going to burn the paranoia.
And I think at that point, that's really good to just hold your flash for the dad, just because of the fact that Ivar now cannot flash again. It's pretty much his only escape tool, besides trying to throw down minefield to make people go through it, to get slowed, and the satchel at that point. So if satchel isn't used on him to bounce himself back or bounce the enemy champion away, then now he's very susceptible to ganks. So I think this is going to be good in that case, if Team Ambition can capitalize on that in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and at this point, Team Ambition, they have to start going for those more coin flippy plays, right? Because straight even 5v5s, you're down almost 4,000 gold. It's only 5 kills. You need some more kills in your pocket. You especially need that 300 and now 200 bounties off the mid and bot lane of OMTZ to try and make a comeback in this game. Yes, you got the first dragon for yourself, but now Ocean has spawned on the map, and you really don't have a way to contest this outside of a steal. And a steal is much harder to do when your ultimate isn't even available unpredictable on your jungler, right? Like he used his ult to try and go for a pick. The pick didn't work out, and now he's like, well, I guess I just lost a kill and the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, it's kind of like, all right, well, I lose the dragon, I lose a lot of things. It's fine. I think giving up second dragon right now isn't really a big deal, just because of the fact that now your third Drake is a fire Drake, and whoever gets it's just going to do a lot of AoE damage whenever they get the Dragon Soul, on top of just being able to burst more when they need to. So, and both teams can capitalize on that. You have the Dad, Kirito, and Adishan that can take that for Team Ambition, and then you look at Ridley, Chitin, and Appa can do that very well from OMT Zeus. So I think it's just basically trying to figure out what's going to be the biggest one that can capitalize on it and kind of play towards it. Which, we're gonna have a 3-man coming up here.
Really? Okay, they were spotted up by that ward there. I mean, you did have ult of your ultimates available. If you wanted to fully commit on to Ridley there, I definitely think that they could have, but it is just very scary when you don't know where Warhead is. You know that Chitin's bot lane, but you also know that he probably has TP up as well. So fully committing for anything, you have to know it's a guaranteed pick into then going into a 4v5 for you.
Exactly, and as you saw down there, basically just a little bit of burst trade coming in from not Ziggs, Kirito there, basically on Syndra to kind of try to stop the back, make sure that if they were looking to TP in that case, because you have to realize they're running 3 TPs right now out of Zeus. So when you look at that, OMT's kind of trying to make sure they have that map pressure as much as possible, because now Adi can't get there whenever he wants. Adi has to play around a certain style and everything there. Oh, we're gonna have a dive?
Okay, yeah, that was an interesting dive. I mean, Kirito did have the minion wave, but I don't think he really has the damage to kill Chitin right now. Syndra is definitely not a solo kill type champion unless you are significantly ahead and still trying to stack that tier, right? It's like, well, once you complete that, maybe you can start looking for these, right? But it's like, I just want to talk about the Rift Heralds that have been taken so far. You can see the amount of vision control in the top side river. I can't even count the amount of wards that OMTZ has up there, and yet they were still they were able to take that second Rift Tome. That's just purely thanks to the amount of control that they have over this top side, which is largely due to the fact that they're able to send Chitin bot and then the rest of the team up top, and they can almost equal each other in the amount of pressure.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, so if they can equal out in pressure, now you gotta wonder, like, what's going to be the biggest takeaway for each team. Like, at this point right now, Ambition just needs to get kills. They just need to get something. So, and the big thing is, okay, how are you going to get it? Or who are you going to focus? So, at this point, if they can focus on either Ziggs or Vex, just to get that bounty gold spread out on the others, then that'll help out that a little bit. Or in that case, like we see, there's this 2-level advantage right now on top lane. If he can get, some of that XP, some of that gold, in a fight and everything, then he's going to be a little bit more able to.
Oh, Kirito, okay, is going to flash away. Unfortunately, not going to be able to flash away from Warhead's ultimate there as well. Kirito taken down real low, but still just taking enough to be able to walk it out. But flash bullet time coming out from Adi. TP coming in as well, trying to keep the bot side members alive. Ridley pop that ultimate. Kirito just about able to dodge that W, surviving for a very long time underneath that tower, but it's not going to matter. Chitin arrives with an ultimate, picks up 1 kill, another kill going over to Ridley. TP in on the backside from Bonoply, though, all on his own in for member, survives for a very long time right before giving over a double kill.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate for Ambition there, because they had, excuse me, a good idea of trying to dodge out the Amumu there. They did get away from most of the CCs, other than, unfortunately weren't able to get away from the, binding coming out from Warhead there. But other than that, Aisha tried to do his best of getting in, try to slow down people, use bullet time to get that little bit of extra damage off. But unfortunately, since all he has right now is Kraken Slayer and Blast Whisper, you're not doing a lot of damage yet. I'd say yet just because she's got a decent burst, but it's just not able to whittle down the team when you have Zephyr here who can shield and block a lot of the range damage. You have Appa who can pretty much stay far away and still do a lot of damage. And it's just the unfortunate thing for right now is just trying to figure out how can we go and siege against these players and everything like that. And so they need to, I think they're trying to learn is what can we do in that case. I mean, when you already had two was it Rift Heralds be used against them, and you have Ziggs who is a very good, you know, lane pusher as well as turret demolisher. So it's just a little unfortunate in that case that they weren't able to, you know, kind of protect those two turrets in the bot lane there because of it. So I think they just need to kind of slow it down, get some picks here. Like right now, this could be an easy
Zephyr!
pick.
Zephyr could definitely be caught out here. The dad pops that paranoia, but isn't actually looking to throw it there onto Zephyr until the very end. First kill for Team Ambition. Now looking for the second kill up here. Ridley Prime taken real low here by Benopoly, but still so much healing on the ultimate, able to finally find the solo kill for himself.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Ridley here is you have literally probably one of the better bruiser ultimates that not a lot of people can contend with, and it's the fact that you just get raw stats that just boost your abilities to be so much stronger and everything. And like you said, we literally talking about two Gordraker tops that Gordraker kind of has like that weird stage of like, did they get a buff? Did they not get a buff? That like these bruiser champions are like doing well now more than before in that case, and when there really wasn't anything in patch notes changing. So and I agree. I think the biggest thing is unfortunately you have Aatrox who literally could just kind of out position and out CC you that little bit that it's just unfortunate for Set that if he gets pulled in, like in that case there, he has to try to burn his haymaker as soon as possible, and he can't get everything out the way that he needs to, unfortunately. So it's gonna be one or more of those, you know, solo kills potentially going up there and everything. So
I mean, it was very impressive up until that point that OMTZ were running a completely perfect game, and then one tiny little misstep from Zephyr. All he did was walk into the top river. He didn't even walk that far. He basically just stepped one little toe in, and then it was the instant ult from Taco Cat, as well as the paranoia drop from the dad, and it was like, well, I guess Zephyr is just dead, and then there goes the perfect game. There goes at least one domination stack in favor of Team Ambition and Kirito. Not really getting a shutdown. There wasn't a shutdown on Zephyr, right? But it's still that extra 300 gold to close the gold lead, even a little bit. It's still 7,000 in favor of OMTZ, but that one little punish is just so nice to see, because like at this point, it's almost becoming a mental game, right? It's like we can still come back into this game, as I say that Addy burning literally everything to try and get away, and unfortunately not quite able to do that. The dad, very similar story right there. Taco Cat, just not. You can feel the goal difference and the mental just piling up on Team Ambition. That one little pick could save him just a little bit here, but mid inhibitor is about to fall.
Yeah, mid inhibitor gonna fall right now very easy, just because again, Satchel can just burn through towers very easily. You just have a team that is very ahead, but also is just able to make sure that nothing is going to be lost from doing this push at this point, just because they can take easily the tower and inhibitor here. So now it's kind of what they do next. At this point, Baron's up. They can move towards that. Kirito's already trying to burst out Warhead right now to make sure that nothing happens in this case, but
oh, Warhead, he is going to go and he finds the double stun, but unfortunately, no follow-up there. He has no mana, forced to flash away. He is going to be going down. Bullet time only landing onto one member. Ivor going into golden for just a little bit too long there. Ridley finds himself in a 1v4, heals for so much. That is the secret Gore Trigger boss that we were talking about. Back up to 3/4 HP. Bronalopoli not going to be as lucky with the Gore Trigger. Taco Cat taking down real low is finally going to fall. Curato, last member remaining for Team Ambition. Is he able to find the 1v1 onto Ridley? Of course not. It is not actually a 1-for-1. The ace coming out for OMTZ.
It was a great idea. I'm not gonna lie. It was a great idea by them to come out and try to capitalize on taking out Warhide, which they did. But the problem is you had Ridley who put the Infernal Chains onto Adishan there in that case, and because he was bound back, the was it Mega Inferno Bomb hit the middle point where Adi just got literally blown up, and then now who was definitely able to burst down really there in that case and everything now couldn't do anything. He's dead, and then now you have Ridley with the Gore Trigger buff of just being able to hit a couple people. Now gets a lot of health seal coming back to them and everything, and then you already have your ult working where you get a 45% health like coming back to you. It's kind of like, okay, like what do you do here? You can't burn him down then, and then heaven forbid,
Yeah.
when he comes into his form, he's fearing minions right away. So it's just or it's kind of just unfortunate in that case. But if they had a little bit better positioning, I think they could have been able to do more things. But as unfortunately the mega death bomb and just raw bursts from Chitin, just it's too much for them in that case. I mean, you look at it here for the stats. I mean, you see it. You got
Yeah.
two people over 12k damage that was just able to kind of shut down Team Ambition here, and it's just a little unfortunate because I know we didn't get to say our predictions, but I think you and I were kind of thinking along the same lines of on paper both teams look good, but I think we were both leaning towards Ambition, and just unfortunately wasn't the case since the Vex popped off and just was able to you know create a lot more pressure now for Team Ambition that they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention, I don't think we've mentioned this quite yet. Both of these teams were completely undefeated up until this series right here. All of their series have ended in a 2-0 in their favor. This was the very first loss for Team Ambition in this entire season so far, which is very impressive. So now they're hoping to still win the series. Of course, it is still only 0-1. They still have potentially 2 more games left to play here tonight, but we'll be going to a short break as we do head into game 2 here very shortly. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to now Game 2 of Team Ambition Golden Age, currently 0-1 to OMT Zeus. Now, of course, switching sides once again, I'm Camcom, joined by Gigatron here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the 1-0 come out right now for, was it OMTZ and OMT Zeus. I mean, they're really showing that, hey, we want to get this tie for first place here. So I think it's definitely possible, but I think Team Ambition's going to come out here and try to be like, hey, let's pick a different comp that either if we're not going to ban out the Vex, either take the Vex or just play around it a little bit differently, so that way they can kind of prepare for that first that came out that was a little crazy.
I mean, honestly, like, yes, Vex was the most fed champion on the map, but I don't think Vex was the real reason that Team Ambition did drop game 1. It was such a macro-focused game. There was never that really, like, shining moment of this is where the game ended. Like, if you did have to pick the moment, I would say that very first Dragon fight, even, like, before the fight, it was the very first pick of getting Misfortune out of the bottom lane to start the Dragons, that you had the numbers advantage. Like, that tiny little macro play really just like set the whole game off. Like, yes, Vex got a double kill off of that, but like any champion in mid lane probably could have done that if they have any type of early game damage, as we now see some very strange picks. Mordekaiser B1. I can't say I've ever seen that one before for OMTZ, matched by the Darius Hecarim from Team Ambition.
Yeah, a P1 Mordekaiser, I think that's interesting because it shows that you want to take a top laner or jungler. I mean, you could jungle, but a top laner that you're trying to establish, okay, I want an AP top laner and I want to dominate, potentially that lane and everything. And now you have a Darius who will definitely chase you down, and I don't think you necessarily want him in Shadow Realm. Which is why a Wukong I could potentially see is going top lane.
I mean, I just can't ever think of a top lane player that I've willingly heard say, give me a B1 Mordekaiser. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a top laner say that in my life. Like, who wants to be one top lane? I don't know, but we see it here now. And then Wukong jungle, I am assuming for OMTZ locked in with Rakan. Now it is a very strong engage with secondary engage from Rakan and the Mordekaiser with some follow-up AP damage. Now you do just need some actual real follow-up AD damage. Team Ambition locking in that Lulu. You do have a very strong ultimate there to combine with either Hecarim going in or Darius if he is very fed. Very strong Spirit Visage game for Darius, either second or third item if he does get fed enough to really start just benefiting from Lulu as much as he can, and to counter on Mordekaiser a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the problem that OMTZ is going to have to worry about is you have the Lulu and Hecarim who are going to be able to try to keep Mordekaiser from putting people in the Shadow Realm, but you also have Rakan who's going to try and dive in with Wukong to get that knockup or just be able to put more pressure in these team fights that I don't know if they're necessarily expecting coming out from, Team Ambition here, looking at OMTZ, because that potentially team fight right there is going to be a little crazy, especially if Mordekaiser can pull someone out, in Shadow Realm. It's going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie for these team fights.
I mean, I have to say, if you had two bans from Team Ambition, Misfortune and Yone have to be the two best bans here. I mean, Misfortune, I said it a little bit last game, she's like 100% presence right now at Worlds just because of how strong her ultimate is in follow-up, and you don't have to high econ her. She's one of the very few AD carries that you don't have to high econ for her to actually be able to do things in the mid to late game team fights, right? And then both of them are that like constant AD DPS damage that I was talking about that OMTZ do need. Now, Vayne Lulu bot lane locked in here for Team Ambition. Then, of course, Lovers Duo matched by OMT. This is a very lane-favored Rakan Xayah for them, but then, I mean, team fights-wise, Lulu Vayne, if they get 2 kills on the Vayne, this is absolutely a 1v9 type of game for a Vayne.
Yeah, and Vayne, obviously, that hyperscaling champion is going to be able to kind of figure out what's going to be, the best for her. Because if she can get those 2 kills early on, she's going to be able to pop off that little bit sooner. Now, isn't that late game of a champion? Now it's that more mid to early, just because early kills, obviously, anyone makes them, much better and everything like that. But for Vayne especially, if she can get those early kills, then she's just going to be able to dominate that lovers duo and the rest of the team in this case. So it looks like Kale mid? Is that what we're getting?
I do
I
think
don't
it
know.
is going to be a Kale into Oriana mid. Team Ambition really are just full sending it on this Vayne 1v9. Vayne really does the main and the only consistent damage on Team Ambition. It is a full protect comp on her. I was talking a little bit about how powerful Lulu ult can be on Darius and Hecarim for an engage, but in reality in this game, she's gonna be ulting Vayne. I would like to think every single team fight, Vayne is going to be the real win condition here for Team Ambition. And then, of course, with the Kale lock in an OMT, if Kale gets fed, it could very well turn into a Kale versus Vayne game.
Yeah, and you don't want to affect Kale. That's
No,
just
you really
that
don't.
I'm literally thinking about it, and I'm like terrified. Like, and we don't even have a Vex in the game, and I'm terrified right now because of that. Just because of the fact that you never want to fed Kale, especially Kale getting any of her levels earlier than she needs to be on an average is just going to just run through teams. Just because of the fact that now she starts doing AoE, she's able to do range better and everything like that, and just shred through armor and matrices that she's just like, why didn't we ban this kind of a thing? But that's what you play around it. That's what OMT is going to play around, is trying to get this KO ahead, get the Mordekaiser to do things, be able to help out the lovers duo in the bot lane, just because you are going against that Vayne Lulu. You have Oriana who can come down and either do move speed, with the dissonance, or it could still do some, consistent damage and everything onto, the different champions there. So I think it's just going to be up to fights, honestly. I don't know about you.
I want to talk about a little bit more about AOE's comp, OMTZ's comp. They have a lot of strong engage with Wukong and Wukong. Man, words are hard to say. Wukong and Rakan. That is going to be a tongue twister. Oh boy. Wukong and Rakan are very strong engaged together, but with the safety of both Xayah and Kale ultimates, them both being the most high damage champions on OMTZ, right? It's like, that is not the same safety that Vayne has. Yes, she has Lulu ult and shield, but she doesn't have something for herself in a panic like Kale and Xayah do, whereas Kale and Xayah can deny any dive that Darius and Hecarim try to do on top of them, and then once you get rid of both of those engaged ultimates, Team Ambition really don't have a whole lot of follow-up. Yes, you have a Shockwave, but Shockwave is going to run out immediately, and Kale ult takes a lot longer than Shockwave.
Right, and here's the other thing too that you can factor in. You have Mordekaiser who could pull out someone at any point too. That even if they try to dive him on tower or in lane, then now he's forcing himself to only fight one person. Z2, yes, he's going to deal with them later, but now if you could take out, say, Darius or the Hecarim in that case, now he's not having to worry about, a 2v1 necessarily, or it's an extended 2v1 instead of a short 2v1. If you think of it that way. But I agree, yes, you do have Xayah who can, get away very easily with that, with her ultimate standing with Kale. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously at that point you got to focus on Kale, or at least someone to try to make her use her ultimate in that case. Because if that doesn't happen, then they're both going to be able to freely do damage for Xayah and Kale there. So I think that's their big problem that they're going to have to worry about for Team Ambition is who do you target and when are you able to safely get those kills this way. Then you're not worried about her jumping back and dodging, or Kale using the ult. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes with this game here.
I mean, if this game goes anything as well as Game 1 did, Game 1 was a very slow game. There were 2 kills before the 10-minute mark. That is not something we see really ever here in Sophomore League. That was a very slow, very macro-focused game, and if there was a champion to pick to try and get fed after that type of game, it would definitely be a Kale, or for Team Ambition, I agree Vayne would also be an equally strong pick, but with that, we will be going to a short break right here. Spectator Delay taken down. Team Ambition currently 0-1 to OMTZ. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with your second game. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 2 tonight. OMTZ taking Bluestead 1-0 up on Team Ambition Golden Age. Once again, I am Camcom, joined by Gigatron here tonight.
Yeah, Capcom. That first game was like really crazy to think about because, like you talked about, like it was not really many kills early on. It was more of that macro, and now you kind of wonder what's going to happen with this because
Yeah.
you have both junglers sitting mid. We have a potential ult.
Oh? Oh, that's
Body.
so rude, man. Like, he was just dancing. He was vibing with his new skin. He was having his music playing, and then you're like, nah, man, I'm on level Q and go auto him. I don't know, man.
I feel some potential salt coming out from Adishan there. Is that first game didn't go into their hands that they were kind of expecting, but this time around maybe we'll see what's different. I mean, we have definitely, like I talked about, it could have been a potential for the Mordekaiser jungle, and we do have Mordekaiser jungle. So I wonder how the Wukong goes into the Darius here, and how well he can capitalize for Warhead here with this Mordekaiser.
Yeah, you secretly predicted the Mordekaiser jungle that we didn't even notice in the Champion Select somehow. But yes, it is the Mordekaiser jungle. Now, usually, I don't think you actually see Mordekaiser jungle take Flash. I think he usually takes another summoner spell. I could be wrong about that, but you do see the dad has elected to take Ignite over Flash, so that will be something interesting to note, especially in the jungler 1v1s where Ignite is obviously going to be superior over that Flash, and that's mostly going to matter at that level 3 scuttle on the top river, right? Like at 3.5 minutes, that is going to be where that Ignite is going to matter the most for dad, and assuming that they're both able to clear up to their full clear.
Right, and if they're doing their full clear going onto it, it's going to be interesting just because you have neither have smite, and you're coming down to the fact of, okay, the Ignite over the Flash. Yeah, Ignite obviously is the more dominating one. Hecarim really doesn't need Flash necessarily, just because he does have his charge, and he does have the Onslaught Shadows as well too once he gets his ultimate there. So doesn't really need it. Where I think Mordekaiser kind of needs it that little bit more. Like it's more an option. It's not a necessity, but it's definitely an option.
It is an option, and it is also only an option for Wukong as well. I think he could have also opted to take Ignite instead of Flash, but anyway, he's got Flash. We're going to talk like he has Flash because he does have Flash. Anyway, bringing it over to the mid lane here, I want to talk about this matchup a little bit. We are trying, or at least OMTZ is trying very hard to get Kayn ahead on this Kale. They did that very successfully game 1 on the Vex, even if it wasn't the intended. Like, we're trying to get Vex ahead from level 1 type of comp, right? But now Kayn, all focus is placed on him in this mid lane, and against Orianna, Kale doesn't do very well levels 1 through 5. Once you do hit that level 6, the first, I forget what it's called, it's like the enchantment or whatever, right? When she enlightens, when it is, that's when she does start to get a little bit more powerful against the Orianna, and then the real power spike is that level 9 actually, when she is fully stacked up, and then after that, level 11, level 16, everyone knows about those, but it is mostly that level 6 and level 9 when she really starts to stack up against Orianna.
Yeah, and once she's able to get to those level points and do more of that burst, it's really going to be, like you said, hard for her. It's going to be hard for a lot of different laners, just because even if she ganks at some point, like I said, whether it's meeting for a Scuttle or a Dragon or any team fight that's going to be coming up, she's going to be able to still whittle down people from range. And now it's kind of like, oh, what do we do? Because we're just expecting two. Like in this case, like you look at a bot lane, if she comes bot, she's going to do a lot of damage to them, and they're not going to be expecting that.
Yeah, it's those more like unexpected 2v2 kills that you don't really see coming, right? Like Rakan Zaya, very weak pre-level 6. The instant they hit level 6, their kill pressure goes from like 25% to like 80%, especially if Rakan lands that Flash R or Flash W, especially onto Adi, right? Like that should be an insta blow-up kill if they are able to find it, and that can easily snowball either Ivar, if he's the one able to pick up that kill, or if Kaiden is somehow magically there, if he's able to pick up that surprise level 6 kill, it becomes much harder to play around when you aren't really expecting it to come.
Exactly, when you're not expecting it, it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of have to worry about this. One thing we can talk about is she's got a call on Kale.
Yeah.
Like, that's an interesting start. Like, I don't know. I just never would expect Kale to go that. Yeah, wow, now I can't talk. I would never expect Kale to go that early on, or just at least in mid. Maybe top, I could see that, kind of a thing. But mid, I just don't expect that.
I mean, when you're basically the entire comp relies around Kayn getting fed, so you have to be able to take those risks. Whether you start Darksteel, which is very heavily nerfed now, with the I think Darksteel got like nerfed 2 patches in a row or something. So like Darksteel is not really worth it to start anymore. I don't think, as Ridley is actually going to burn that Cyclone against Bernopoli. You're still very low mana though, so it's not actually going to result in a solo kills. Now, when Monopoly actually hits level 6, he could look for a potential solo kill despite this being a very large wave. But anyway, back to mid lane, right? Kain, he knows that he has to take these really potentially dangerous builds. Yes, Cole is going to be good because he knows he's not fighting this early on. He really shouldn't be, and taking Cole does guarantee that his mid game is going to be that much stronger.
Exactly, and you see Warhead is positioning to go into Corito. Corito, if she goes up any farther, like right here.
Oh yeah, Corito, he's gonna be forced to flash away there. I don't think there's any real turning that, but it is. I mean, Corito for forced to flash away, very easy regank if they do want to try and force it.
Oh, easily they could reforce it, just because again, anyone's flashed down. The ultimate goal then is to come back within like the next minute to be like, hey, remember what I did a minute ago? Oh, you can't do that again to me. So hopefully goes into, OMT Zeus's favor, but we'll have to see how everything kind of plays out. I think Oriana's going to try to push, but also be safe in pushing. Kind of like how she was there. Still not really overextending beyond that second part of like the mid, but we'll see. Ooh, good pull.
Nice pull there from Monopoly. He knows that Ridley doesn't have that ultimate available, going to actually miss the execute on it, but having that fully stacked passive will allow for the first blood solo kill for Monopoly up there in the top lane.
Yeah, and we talked about it, like the whole thing about this was more so like getting Kale and
Oh, level 5 has been popped here by both the bot lane members. Nobody is actually level 6 quite yet, so both of the exhausts being burned is very dangerous for when level 6s do start getting popped. You see Adi, the first one there, with that ultimate available, the dad hovering over as well as Warhead. They don't know dad is here. Flash coming out here from Warhead, actually going to be ulting Adi, who does have that level 6 available. Both the TPs channeling in from the top laners. Dad picks up the first kill. Warhead not able to find the kill inside of the death realm. He's going to be falling now. Corito picking up that kill onto Warhead. Ridley TPing in, does not have that flash available. Cyclone not going to be followed up enough for any damage. Double kill coming out for Corito, and now Zephyr, he's going to be pulled in by that shockwave. Forced to flash away, still not level 6 on the Rakan.
yeah, and not level 6 on the Rakan, so you can't do the the quickness and everything onto them. But that's the unfortunate thing for OMTZ is you didn't know that the dad was there. You had really good positioning out from Team Ambition there, and they're able to capitalize, even though you did have to put Adishan into the Shadow Realm with Warhead. Warhead still was able to capitalize on it, but also had to sacrifice himself in the process to get the kill. So it's very split gold. You could look at this time around for what am I thinking of? Sorry, Team Ambition there, and now they're able to do a little bit more this time around compared to last time at this point. I know last time we said what it was only I think 2 kills. Now we're at 5 between both teams.
Yeah, this is the type of game that I would say favors Team Ambition much more than OMTZ. OMTZ likes to play that slower, more macro-focused game. They know that their macro is very strong, especially for being a sophomore team here, right? It's like if they're able to play it slowly, that is where they are really able to shine, especially with these hyper-scaling champions like the Kale. But now game 2 here has been accelerated much more out of control than game 1. Yes, it is still only 5 kills by 10 minutes, still significantly less than we do typically see in Sophomore League, but still, that's 3 more kills than 2.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it that way, it is a little bit more, but now you're looking at more stacked on one team compared to just kind of being like, oh, I got 3-2 or anything like that. And you're seeing that, again, those rotations were coming out from both teams. You saw both TPs came down for both Ridley and Corito in that case. So, and you look at that, Guyton also had TP down. So now you look at, okay, where are we seeing, the difference between, game 1 and game 2? And we're seeing it already. They're just playing that little bit better right now. They did get the first Drake, and they're looking to take, actually, Rift right now.
Yeah, and with that TP difference, it is important to note that Bernopoli doesn't have TP. He does have Ghost, that is the classic summoner spell that you do kind of have to take to make Darius a real champion. But when you do take Ghost, you have to be able to find those solo kills, which, I mean, so far Bernopoli absolutely has. But when Ridley does TP down bot lane for those plays and comes back with even more gold than Bernopoli was able to take, he has to be able to match that with either taking plates, taking Rift Herald, invading. He has to be able to match that in some other way since he has not opted to take the TP.
Right, and the only way to kind of match that is having the ghost and being able to try to get down there as soon as possible, kind of a thing. So, but the ghost, it is a staple of Darius. It's just your easy way to, once you slow down with your W, you can kind of chase after them, get those bleed stacks down there that a little bit more, and a little bit more for yourself in that case. But right now, the 1-0, he's a little ahead. He's trying to abuse the CS lead right now on him.
Pretty big CS lead.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see how the Wukong fares. Just because it is a little bit behind, maybe it's just going to be more of a team fight focus. Kind of assist than trying to get kills.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really pick Darius for his team fighting. You pick Darius to hard win the 1v1 top lane matchup and then maybe as a split pushing threat, but Darius gets largely outscaled by most top laners, especially in team fight scenarios. Like, even a Wukong is mostly going to outscale him just because of how helpful a Cyclone is in 5v5s. As now you see Rift Herald, that little bit more macro play coming out from Team Ambition, finding the first tower up there for Monopoly, even more gold going into Darius's pockets.
Right, and now more gold in Darius's pocket. He's being more of that monstrosity. Once he gets into being able to bully out Wukong more, or another soul laner in that case, now they're not going to be able to handle the Darius, and it's going to be like, what did we do? Now I believe Chitin could eventually deal with Darius 1v1 just because she'll be able to do a lot of damage. She already has the Nashor's Tooth right now, and she's already got Berserker Greaves, so she's got a lot of attack speed. So you can only hope. You can only hope for just more damage as things go on. Once she hits that, she's already hit the level spike for 11, so now she just needs that 16 and 18.
Yeah, this has gone almost just as well as Game 1 did for OMTZ. Yes, they are down 3,000 gold. That's not the same gold lead, but their shining member in Light Chitin, he is sitting level 11. He is sitting on a very large power spike for himself right now, right before this next dragon. As for Napoli, I didn't even see Mordekaiser. Was there a Mordekaiser checking that bush? I didn't see one. And with Mordekaiser apparently not being available on the map right now, Team Ambition able to take their second dragon, now popping that Cloud Soul in this game too.
Yeah, you know what? I look at it and I see that they're just playing that, like I said, that little bit better this time around. That, again, Warhead just doesn't exist because now Warhead isn't really that tanky. Again, it's more that burst AP style that he's really not a bruiser yet. Eventually,
Yeah.
but again, it's a yet. This is the problem that they took, is they took more of that scaling comp, which is again their bread and butter. They, like you said, they do really good macro. They're able to kind of play more into that late game, and they pop off more in that case where you kind of get a little bit more mid early coming out with a little bit of late, with Adi being on Vayne there for Team Ambition. And I'm kind of waiting to see, once we see where does that lever switch coming from Team Ambition to Zeus here in that case. I don't know what it's going to be. But we'll find out soon.
We are transitioning into the mid game here soon. Both the outer towers have been taken away from OMT Zeus now, so the only place that is really left that in safety is the mid lane, which is of course for Chitin's tower, still kind of being left alone here on almost a little island here in the mid lane of just that tiny extra bit of safety that a tower does grant you, right? And still, all outer towers are still standing for Team Ambition. So still almost about to transition into the mid game, and that is, I believe, where OMTZ's comp is really going to start shining, because this is by no means an early game comp.
No, I mean, and the other thing that I look at is this comp. I mean, for both sides is just definitely interesting, but I'm liking that Monopoly is just kind of being the bully. You have Oriana is getting those kills and everything. You have assists on Vayne, so Vayne's getting there, and you could just only hope just for just more pressure, more rotations, more damage coming out now from Team Ambition, because at this point it's do or die for the series, and then also they want to make sure they stay undefeated. I mean, yes, they'll have a game technically dropped on them and everything, but if they can take
Oh
their
no.
undefeated series.
Oh no, Kyan, you're just face checking for Monopoly now, the most fed member on the side of Team Ambition. Going to be taken into the death realm now for a very long time. Monopoly almost going down, is going to be going down. Shut down, going over to Warhead now. Taco Cat burning his ultimate on himself. Kale ult going on to Zephyr there for a little bit more engage, but Shockwave onto the backline members means no follow-up damage on Zephyr's really nice engage there. So in the end, it is just a 1-0, but 1-0 in OMTZ will close the gold lead just a little bit.
Yeah, it does close that lead a little bit more now. You have, again, another kill going towards Mordekaiser in that case, and you know, you gotta hope. Okay, now you took out Monopoly. Very easy. I mean, again, this is what I pointed out. The Shadow Realm. Shadow Realm is good in that aspect of you can isolate someone out, especially him, who is going to be more of that tank. You know, that's trying to just absorb a lot, but also try to get in your face at the same time. So now that he can't be that tank bruiser, now you get a little bit more advantage onto them and kind of capitalize more. So they can keep doing that. It's gonna definitely gonna be swinging back in their favor.
Yeah, that is the, like you call it, the bread and butter of making a comeback in this game. Is you find one pick, you don't give any kills over, and then you immediately translate that into objective. Yes, maybe second Rift Herald is not the strongest objective, but being able to take potentially a first tower for OMTC is just escalating that little bit of tempo that they're able to find off of one pick into another pick, into potentially a dragon, into potentially the second tower, into that is exactly how game one went for OMTZ, and now they can finally find a little bit of that tempo that they had in game one in this game too.
Yeah, exactly. And if they can find that tempo again, it's definitely going to be in their favor. But we might. I guess we're not going to get a fight. I was wondering, I'm like, where is everyone? I'm like, I knew there was 3 in jungle. We had 1 in bot. I'm like, they're rotating. Maybe they're going to go in on them. But we are going to see this another turret go over to Team Ambition here in that case. So no more outer turrets, only inners, and you know everything else right now. But they are going to start this third Drake here. They are going to lose their mid. They're going to lose probably both mids, to be honest.
TP being channeled here by Carito, but he's TPing into 3 members of OMTC, going to not actually be forced to flash away there, but still run away as fast as you can. Tail between your legs. Soul Point will be going over to Team Ambition now, 3-0 on Dragons. Probably the biggest lead that we've had this whole series just through Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing too is, hey, you know what? If they can just capitalize on keep getting all these dragons, then they're going to, again, show that they're macroly trying to take as much objectives as much as possible. I mean, they're already running. They got the 3 turrets right now. They have 3 drakes. They're up by 3 kills. I think we're seeing a trend here. If anything, you're up almost 3K. I think Team Ambition is trying to show something. But we'll see how much more that can go along as the game plays on.
Yeah, I mean, it is still only 7 kills at 20 minutes. Like, Man, I can't emphasize this enough. How slow these games are and how macro-focused these games are is now Warhead actually flashing in 1v4 for a potential kill on the Taco Cat, but Exhaust by so much time in the death realm. Taco Cat actually going to be able to survive in the 1v1. Bernopoli picking up yet another kill on the Darius, and now Team Ambition looking to turn that on to the Baron.
I guess the good thing you could say that Warhead did was you isolate Taco Cat. Taco Cat is very low. Had to use her ult in that case, so now regrowth is not going to be able to be used on another champion for a little bit. So if they do get into a team fight, they'll be able to deal with her that little bit more and deal with the team that little bit more. But not going to be the case. Everyone else is going back to lane. They're just trying to create some pressure elsewhere and see what they can do, for OMT Zeus.
Yeah, I do want to point out Chitin is sitting level 14 on this Kale. Has the Rift Maker and Nashers completed. Has the Negatron Cult coming in here as well now. So Kale is still stacking up, scaling up in the background. Just a little bit more secretly. Still send 001. Not as impressive on the KDA aspect, but 234 CS in a 22-minute game. Where did that come from?
The big thing that we just had to notice was she was definitely going into enemy jungle, trying to take it as much as possible. Able to farm out the mid lane very well here, and when she was in bot lane, was able to see us the best as she could, which she's been doing. So I think that's the main capitalizing factor she has to look at is, hey, she's trying to be that carry like Cassidy. You hit your 16, you just do a bunch of damage. You're just able to just take over games and everything like that. So I think that's what we're getting to here is, hey, she's at this point. Now we have to worry about her. What do we do? Kind of a thing. Because if Ridley goes in and uses a knockup, and heaven forbid, you have Zephyr go in too, and you have Warhead picking off someone in that process. Now it's just like, this is a rough fight that you still want to deal with. But we're gonna see that Vayne takes this inner turret here in mid lane. We see Oriana is dealing with Kale in bot lane at that inner turret, and yeah, just Bernopoli just being the bully that he's been doing, which is again just playing the Darius very well into Ridley.
Yeah, and this is another one of those high level macro tactics that we've seen throughout this series. It is the 1-3-1 with the vision control with after taking Baron. I mean, 1-3-1 is the strongest when you do have the Baron. And now, I mean, as I say 1-3-1, it turns into a 4-1. But still, Darius up on top side, he doesn't have the TP available if there does start a fight here on the bottom lane, but I highly doubt there will, as Ridley, he's up here, he's dealing with Darius. If you do leave Darius alone up here on the top side all on his own, he can absolutely shred through that inhibitor tower, and most likely the inhibitor here as well. But now Bronopoli has been left completely on his own here. The rest of the team has recall. He's the only one left splitting, forced to flash away, using that ghost, trying to get away as fast as he can, but unfortunately not quite fast enough. Ridley being able to pick up his first kill of this game.
Yeah, and really able to capitalize, which is great. I mean, you look at that Monopoly was just being that powerhouse, and if you could get help from your team, which you got there in that case, now, yes, you had to pull 3 people to take on 1 person, but now that 1 person is going to be here for the dragon fight.
Yeah, now you don't have a very fed member here for your Dragonfight. Warhead going to be popping that death from once again onto Kirito, and Adi even taken down real low there on the Vayne, 50% HP, but excellent ult in the backline there from the dad. Really not able to find an engage. No mana remaining on this Wukong. Immortal Shippo popped on Audi. He is not going to be taken down. Double kill coming out for the Vayne. Warhead up next on the plate. Taco Cat able to pick up that kill, and now it looks like Soul is going to be taken from Team Ambition.
Yeah, you know what? It seems like Adi woke up this game and I just want to start blasting. So, and he's definitely doing it. He's kind of being that commanding presence of the Vayne right now. So, yeah, we do have a 16 now on Kale. So this is kind of that terrifying standpoint of, okay, how do we deal with Kale? She's already hit her 3 spikes, for leveling up with her passive. She's gonna be doing a lot of damage. How do we handle that? And I think the big thing is if you're able to pick her off. I mean, you can pick her off, burn her ult. You did your job. Now in team fight, you don't have to worry about that. You just got to worry about, like you talked about earlier, Zaya being able to, dodge out with her ultimate.
Yeah, this is now where Kain really starts to get to shine on his champion. Right? I thought it was pretty funny how direct to camera, like usually direct to camera follows kills. It doesn't usually follow kills hitting level 16. So it kind of just popped over there, showed us the animation of pop back to the dragon, which of course Ocean, not man, I keep calling it Ocean. It's Cloud Soul being taken now by Team Ambition Golden Age, right? There are no dragons for OMTZ. Their only hope of trying to find a dragon is an Elder, which, I mean, you don't have to have another dragon to have Elder be as impactful as it is.
Right. It doesn't have to be going to that standpoint and everything, but yes, that is going to be their only dragon that they're going to be able to take. And oh no, we have Goon Squad.
Monopoly. Oh no. Oh, he's there. Oh, okay.
Okay, no chase. I mean, I think that might be smart, only because of the fact that mid's getting pushed and top's getting pushed. Now you want to make sure you're able to come back, hit those waves. You have Kale with Chitin there. Chitin's able to pretty much just mow through those waves, and now you're forcing a 5v4 since you have Darius in the bot lane, and he can't TP.
You do have Darius in the bot lane. You do also have, I want to mention very quickly, QSS on the Darius, largely to block Warhead from ulting him, taking him into that death realm. And I believe the fact that they didn't chase the Darius was because the Baron was spawning in just 15 seconds. It is now on the map, but now you have a Darius split pushing on your bottom inhibitor and really no one there to watch it, as now it is going to be that 5v5 Ivar. Not quite in the fight though. It is just a 4v4. Carito taking out Rilo, has that Lulu ultimate, trying to keep him alive. Ridley has that Kale ultimate on top of him, keeping him alive for a very long time, but Addy left completely on his own, left there to free auto for as long as he can. But look at the base. You lost your bottom him, about to lose your Nexus towers. Carito and Adi still both alive. All 4 members here remaining on OMT very low. They have to recall. Oh, that almost canceled their backs, but not quite. 2 members were able to back. Rog and Lily will not be allowed to end the game, as now Baron being started up by Warhead and Caden.
Yeah, and you have to look at, again, that's another great play by them.
Oh, Adi dashing in there, doesn't have the shield available for him. Now that's going to be pop, but still finds the kill onto Warhead through the flash, through the shield. Kain last member remaining alive here. Wants to find at least 1 kill before he's popped, but it is not going to matter. The first death on Chitin. 50-second death timer could show the start of the end here for OMTZ.
And there's that big thing that we kind of talk about with the fights here. You have basically that commanding presence of the Vayne there, being fed, being able to do a lot of damage. You have everything was played well. You had Darius stay bot, push out that lane. You got an inhibitor from it. While you did lose a few on your team, now you're looking at, okay, in the end, I got what I wanted. I got them off the Baron, and I still got kills at that fight there too. So, essentially, Ambition's playing the way that they need to right now. They need to just kind of keep riding on those coattails of their momentum right now. Since the momentum did shift back in their favor, they did do what they needed to do, which was, like I said, they had to get that Kale ult burned, and they did. And they burned it on Wukong, and Wukong still died. So, I mean, that's the unfortunate thing is, like, you hope, okay, hey, I get it on Wukong, Wukong gets out. Not the case, unfortunately, but it's fine. It happens. So we'll see how they use that more carefully now in these next couple fights.
Yeah, and now, before that team fight, even Carito and Adi, they really weren't that fed on these champions. I think they had maybe 1 kill each, maybe 2. But now, both sitting 3-0, 700 gold bounty on Carito, and 400 for Adi. That is 1,100 gold if you get that onto Kain, minus the 600 that you would get from the double kill there as well. So that would be 1,600 gold, closing this current, I believe, 11,000 gold lead in favor of Team Ambition. It is just going to be ridiculously hard to try and find that, as now you have lost both your bottom lane inhibitor towers. Flash ult coming out from Ridley, not able to land it onto anyone, though. Zephyr going in as well, burning that so important ultimate there from the Kale Taco Cat. Flashed on, instantly blown up. Warhead finding the target there onto Corito there in the backline. Ivor not able to survive for long enough. Kane autoing down as fast as he can. Kill is level 16. Ale does do a lot of damage, but not as much damage as Corito do. Meanwhile, Bronopoli trying to end the game, trying to find the 1-for-1 so far for Team Ambition.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, it's going to be the 1-on-1 going towards Team Ambition right now. This is because they did play it very well. They did get we can talk about this. I didn't realize, but Corito didn't die at all in the game.
Yup.
So I mean,
Perfect.
and she beat out Kale on the CS. Oh my god, by 9 there. Oh no,
The madman.
But you do have to look at that. Kale did do what she needed to do. She did get that farm. She was doing what she could essentially and everything there, and just unfortunately was just not able to capitalize on these team fights of shredding out the Darius or trying to peel off Adi in that case, just because you have Taco Cat still being able to sit behind, give him shields, feed out everything that Adi needs for that move speed or the regrowth, or just be able to, polymorph someone. And that's what kind of just capitalized for him and everything. Like you said, they invested more so in this case of the protect ABC comp, and it worked well for them.
It absolutely did. And now 1-1 in this series. The battle for first place, once again, it would be an uncontested first place for Team Ambition. If they take this game 3, or if OMTZ take this game 3, they would then tie for first place, both of them being 5-1. But we do have one more game on our hands here tonight. Best of threes, of course, are very exciting. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the now tiebreaker between the top 2 teams in Division 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to now Game 3 of Sophomore League Runeterra Academy TAGA versus OMTZ 1-1. Once again, I'm Cam, joined by Gigatron for the last game of tonight.
Yeah, Cam, I think both you and I were not thinking we were going to see a game 3, but we are getting definitely a game 3, which is still exciting though, just because we see that, hey, this shows both these teams are definitely contenders for first, and then on top of it showing why, hey, they need to be in playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, like we were saying, the battle for first place here. The better seed for playoffs takes the victory. Once again, sides do swap for each game. Team Ambition had blue side games 1 and 3, and red side game 2. So OMTZ, the opposites, of course, as man, these B1s, I love these B1s. All 3 games, they've been very interesting. Lulu now going to be picked for Team Ambition. That is a nice flex pick, though.
I agree. I think it's a good one because now not only could you take the Vayne if you wanted to, you don't have to now. You can take another ADC and put her either in mid or top for Lulu there. So I agree. It is a very good flex. But now we see OMTZ is taking the Mordekaiser again. Do we think it's top now, or do we think it's still jungle?
I don't really want to pick either one just yet. I think it is good to pick it early on here because of that flex potential. Because if we don't know where it's going, that means Team Ambition does not know where it's going. And then the Sivir locked in right after Sivir. You usually only pick it this early if it's a very strong comfort pick for Ivor, so maybe it is, but you usually only pick it into things like a Blitzcrank or a Nautilus or something else that you have to be able to dodge that one ability, and then if you do, you can shred them right after. As Team Ambition, I really like this Lucian pick on R2, or B2 even, and then the Darius takeaway from OMTZ.
Yeah, and I think the Darius is great. It's going to work well either into Mordekaiser or whoever else is going to go top. I mean, I look at that Lucian, again, whether it's a mid-top, or again, another great flex pick, for Team Ambition. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if we see it in the bot lane, if we see it in mid. We could see it top even. It'd be interesting to see. All we know is he's going to be blasting whoever it's going to be. So, but here's the other thing we do see. We do see it Udyr, kind of like the Hecarim. Both of them got buffs this patch, so we are going to see them more so in this case. But it's interesting to see.
Yeah, they going back to the beginning of the season a little bit in jungle meta, right? Decided, let's make Hecarim and Udyr champions again now. So we've seen Hecarim once so far in this series. Now, of course, we get to see the counterpart, everyone's favorite Bear Udyr being locked in here. Does mean most likely not going to be that Mordekaiser jungle that we did get to see in game 2. I mean, unless something really exciting happens and it is actually an Udyr top Mordekaiser jungle, but that's not really what I'm expecting. As bans coming out, you do see that Vex banned away again. OMTZ don't want to verse that Vex that they had fed so well in game 1.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the other thing too. They didn't have to ban out the Vex because they know they were getting that pick next. But it's also more of the fact that, okay, if you're not going to go Vex, then why give Ambition the chance, like you said? So, but if they're looking at Karma, I think that's going to be actually a really good pickup.
I am now very worried for OMT's comp, actually, because they are lacking very much in damage. You're gonna have to get either Sivir or Mordekaiser hugely fed. Now, I do like that they're AP versus AD and not just one type of damage, right? But still, it's like, you gotta pick some sort of really strong, consistent damage here on R5 to make up for your current lack of damage overall in the comp, and even a little bit of lack of CC here, as well as Team Ambition locking in Lucian, Darius, and Rise, all very high damage champions, and then Darius and Rise even having a little bit of CC in themselves as well, and Trundle just being that little bit of extra tank cherry on top that they need.
Exactly. I think Trundle really good, able to take out the bruiser of Mordekaiser and Udyr in that case. You have Rise, who can burst people down very well. has the mass teleport. That way now you can take your whole team if you need to,
Wait a
or
minute.
just be able to just get that realm warp going to where you need to go.
Oh
Um,
my god.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so I I believe that this is going to be a Sivir ADC, Karma mid lane, and Misfortune support. I think that is actually what is happening here.
I would agree with that as well. And I was thinking the Karma was going to be more support than mid, just because of the fact that, hey, it's a shield to counter the other shield coming out from Lulu. You have the speed boost coming in, so that also helps again with the Lulu, who is going to be able to zoom
I
up
don't know.
someone. So I think they're trying to match that way, but not the case. It looks like we're going to have two ADCs bot, which at that point, are we going to see more of that AP MF kind of coming out, or is it going to be still the AD? And do we just get a lot more of that burst that you were saying they were kind of lacking? Because now, if they throw in either aspect for MF now is able to create more of that damage that they kind of need, that they were lacking, before they picked the Karma there.
Now, I am going to go with the idea that this is a double AD carry bot lane for OMTZ. Now, usually double AD carry bot lane is very weak because AD carries in essence of their champion, right? They require high econ to be able to do the damage that you do try and pick them to be able to do. Misfortune being a very, very emphasis on very slight exception to that because of her E utility slow and her R is very easy to use to steal objectives, right? But it's still like you pick these. Oh, it's Misfortune midlock. Okay, well then never mind. It's going to actually be Karma Sivir bot lane, and I have no idea how Misfortune mid lane plays, but I guess we're gonna have to figure that out here in game number 3. Anyways, Lulu Lucian bot lane does have a lot of kill pressure early on. If you haven't played against this bot lane yet after the Lucian buffs, Lucian is very strong with any enchanter, Nami being the most. Lulu I would put up there probably second or third, right next to Braum still, but Lulu Lucian, you don't expect it to be as strong as it actually can be, especially if she does go Moonstone.
And especially with that, if she does go Moonstone, you're still having a lot of pressure. You're doing a lot of damage with Lucian. You're able to, again, play more of that protect the comp again, but are able to still put out way too much damage kind of a thing. So I think this is interesting that we do have Chitin being the one taking MF mid. Not that MF mid's going to be bad. I think it's just going to be interesting because she's going to have to try to get away from Rise as much as possible, because once he spell fluxes and rune prisons her, she's not really going to be able to do anything since she'll be rooted. So I think that's going to be the interesting option to kind of see, especially when you have Trundle, who can come in and really put a pillar, and now you're like, shoot, I have to go flash, or it's like, now I gotta go position myself in another spot, but then that means that Rise is able to get up that little bit closer, and now I'm gonna be rooted, and then it's, you hope that Udyr's there at least to either stun one of them. So I think that's going to be an interesting mid lane. I think that's where we at. I think that's lane that we have to watch, because I think we already know what's going to potentially happen for this bot lane. I think our most interesting one is definitely this Rise and
I mean, OMTZ's comp, they don't have as strong of a comp identity as they did in Game 2, and even Game 1, because Game 2, Chitin, you put him on Kale, it's like, alright, we're putting all our resources into Kale. He had 12 CSM in it, he was absolutely insane, his only death was at the very end of the game, and now on Game 3, you put him on Misfortune mid lane. There's not really any real engage, there's not any real CC on this comp. You're playing exclusively for kills and for picks, which makes me very worried because throughout this entire series, it's gone very slow and very macro focused, and this type of comp, I don't think is going to excel in that type of environment. And then Team Ambition, I believe, have largely picked Comfort. Yes, Lucian and Lulu are a very strong dual lane, but the rest of it largely looks like Comfort to me. And Comfort in this type of scenario where you're going largely into a kill type of 5v5 comp, I would say is going to come out on top.
Yeah, and I would say I think I'm gonna lean towards Ambition as well. I think they have a little bit better comp. You have Trundle, who can literally subjugate either Markaiser or Udyr in that case, and literally just take all their resistances, heal off of it, and be able to make them kind of feel more useless. Not necessarily useless, but able to be more susceptible to dying, essentially in that case. And now with that, that makes that Rise more potent, that makes that Darius more potent, that makes Lucian even more potent just because of that. So I think that's what we're gonna have to look to see is where is this Trundle going? How can Darius lean against the Mordekaiser? And how does this MF turn out for
Yeah.
Zeus in that case?
Yeah, lots of question marks right now on Miss Fortune's head. Is she really powerful? Is she not? Going into this game 3 now, going into Spectator Delay, we will be right back here after a very short break. Don't go anywhere, hopefully just as exciting of a game 3 as we had game 2 and 1. Team Ambition Golden Age going against OMTZ, even series so far. Who takes the tiebreaker game 3? We will be right back after the short break. Welcome back, everyone, to Game 3 tonight. Team Ambition taking on blue side. OMTZ taking on red side. Last game of the night for Sophomore League. Runeterra Academy for the last game of tonight. Once again, I am Camcom, joined by Gigatron.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty good eventful games these last two, so I'm like definitely interested to see how this third one goes. We're gonna see the dancing going on in the mid lane here. Hopefully, we're not gonna see. He's moving up again. I don't know. I think Adi wants to get another quick little burst in, but
Oh no.
oh
Don't
no,
do
they're
it to
doing
him.
it. They're doing it.
I mean, he would
What
have to level E for it, and I don't think that's worth it.
no, and Ivar spotted him out, so it was kind of at least a little bit more predicted this time. That way, he's not having to trade, 80 to 100 health.
Yeah, interesting summoner spell decisions here. 1 TP on both sides, that being on both the mid laners. Once again, Ghost on Bronala, on the Darius top lane there, and Ignite actually picked up by Ridley here now in game 3. No TP on the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, because Mordekaiser, I think at this point wants to win lane the best as possible, and that's what he needs to do. And he's going to potentially in this case if they get into more solo fights where there's no minions to worry about, because his bonks are able to do a little bit more damage when it's isolated compared to Darius, who can just pretty much freely do damage as long as he's in range and can heal. So we'll see how that laning phase goes for them. But I think eventually I want to give it to Ridley. Going to be getting it, but it looks like Bernopoly is again just showing why that Darius is a problem.
Yeah, this is another one of those 1v1 matchups that I would usually not predict any solo kills, especially not level 6 or pre-level 6. Maybe at level 6, depending on who hits it first, could look for a solo kill, but based on how we've seen Monopoly play these top lane matchups, he really likes to go in for these solo kills, and usually he is able to pull it off here. You see a pretty large CS lead very early on here in the top lane. Also in the bot lane here for Adi, we haven't gotten to watch it a whole lot quite yet here, but hopefully a cheater coming in here on wave 3.
Yeah, hopefully we see a little bit more coming out. But as we see, Chitin's doing some pretty good trading on the Corrido with a Comet, just trying to make it rain on them as much as possible. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, okay. Again, not really expecting any solo kills. Maybe with Ignite, if you really wanted to try and stretch it, like Ignite could look for a solo kill, but now 3:15, Top Scuttle has spawned up. Dad has already taken it though. Warhead hasn't realized it, only realizes it now. Bernopoly is walking down, walking up from the mid lane, but sitting level 4 on a Misfortune, not going to be able to do a whole lot. Just the trade of Scuttle's Warhead looking to take that bottom lane Scuttle on. He definitely should be able to.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get the bot lane Scuttle, so it's gonna be not a 2-0 going over to Dead in that case. I think it's just going to be the trade for the 1-for-1. That's fine. And yeah, I mean, you look at it this way, it did pull both laners out of their solo lanes, wasn't able to really do too much with it other than just to be like, hey, I'm here, let's not fight kind of a thing. And that was the case. So because of that, because you never want Ridley getting ahead, you don't want Bernopoly getting ahead. Heaven forbid Corrido does. I mean, Chitin, you want to get ahead, kind of a thing, but you don't want anyone else getting ahead at this point.
I mean, Corrido, he just recalled off of a cheater, TP'd back, and you look at his items, he bought a tier and a dark seal. At this point, those are the two items that would give you the most scaling potential, but also the highest risk if you do miss out in this early game. I mean, Corrido played the early game, mid game, and late game almost pretty much perfectly in game 2 and game 1. So I'm absolutely not doubting him. I'm just saying taking Dark Seal off your first pack as well as tier is a very large risk if it does not pay off.
Right. If it doesn't pay off, then it's a little more unfortunate, but at least the main item he's trying to get is a tier, which definitely is getting stacks.
Yeah, he is able to stack it really easily, right? And he is able to hold this lane pressure very easily to allow the dad to either look for invades or look for potential dives here on the bottom lane, as both Adi and Taco playing this almost kill lane-esque Lucian Lulu, right? It's like you can definitely look for dives down there on the bot lane if you do want to bring the dad and eventually Carito down with the Realm Warp when he does hit level 6. It's just going to take a little bit more communication and practice to be able to land that.
Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit more with it, but I think that's a growing pain that a lot of teams deal with, is trying to get a lot of practice going on and making sure that they can kind of get that going. Which, I mean, obviously isn't gonna get fixed today. It's a fix over time is what they gotta look at. So if they can do it today, great. If not, then we'll see how it goes. But Warhead's definitely coming in right now.
Warhead looking for a gank there in the mid lane. Unfortunately, not quite able to outrun Corrido, sitting level 6 with Phase Rush there on the rise. He is very low on mana, so he is probably going to have to recall here soon. Does not have that TP available for around 4 more minutes. Dragon is up on the map. First Cloud Dragon here, so it is going to be the first not Cloud Soul that we've seen all series. Actually, no, we saw Cloud Soul game 2 and Infernal game 1, so we're gonna hopefully see a different Soul here in this game 3.
All right. Out of the two that we didn't have, out of the Ocean and Mountain, what are you gonna pick?
Ocean,
Go
100%.
Mountain.
It's so much more fun, man.
No, I love Ocean too, but I mean, you know, obviously we're casters. We have to go the opposite. We can't choose the same. So,
Ah.
one of us has to come out on top.
Okay, and forced to flash away here, followed up by Corrido Slash, but still not quite enough mana to be able to do the DPS that you are going to need here on the rise. Adi eating in, also not quite enough damage. Taco actually forced to flash away there from Warhead. Heal being burned by Adi just for the little extra movement speed to be able to run away. And all of that was burned over a potential fight over the first dragon, and the fight didn't even happen.
Yeah, and the monster shield coming out from Zephyr there is probably one of those more like, okay, do we take the risk or not kind of a thing, because of the fact that you have Warhead there coming in as well, and also has the proc of that. So with the extra movement speed that he already gets, it's gonna be rough. Oh,
All right, level 7 is being hit by both of these top laners. Flash from Ridley will land himself the first blood, his first solo kill of this series onto Bernopoli. Both summoners burn. Bernopoli not quite using Flash, though.
Never falter.
Monopoly didn't need to use Flash. I think
Kain with the gank here on the bottom lane. Gonna use that exhaust onto Adi. Not quite enough damage though. Oh, Ivor being able to pick up that kill onto Taco Cat. Kain flashing in for that kill onto Adi. And now Warhead coming in for the counter gank here. The dad's still sitting level 5 to Warhead's level 6. Carito did burn that Realm Warp to get down here in his bot lane. Has already died 2-0 in favor of OMT.
2-0, and the big thing that you look at is, like you said, you had a sneaky gank coming in from Chitin. Chitin was able to put a lot of damage and kind of pinch her Adishan into basically the wall. You had the exhaust come out from Zephyr and just was able to just capitalize on kills. I mean, hey, this is the big thing, is who gets the kills early. It seems like it's been kind of taking over the games, it seems like. So now that you have OMT having the kills right now, just gives them that little bit of spike ahead, that little bit of momentum. As long as they can ride that, I think it's going to definitely decide more of who's really going to be ahead of this mid and late game.
Yeah, and OMT are playing to, I mean, their quote unquote comp strengths, I guess I would call it, right? Because their comp doesn't really have that one specific identity. If it did have one, then it would basically just be full fiesta, constant fighting. We never want to stop fighting. And right now, they've been very good at that. Kaiden having a very sneaky gank in the bottom lane to find himself a kill, is now Ridley being flashed out by both of these topside members from TAGA here. Ridley being taken down. Rillo, one more auto will give it over to Bernopoli. The first kill for Team Ambition.
And this is a thing that they had to worry about is, again, Darius in Shadow Realm isn't going to be doing a lot because you're losing all those resistances. And like I said, he had that isolated damage in that first fight. Right now, this time around, unfortunately, you don't have Shadow Realm up. Dad is able to come out and put that pillar up in that right spot. So this way, yes, Bernopoli is not able to get as close because he is definitely going to be potentially bursted down, but was able to still capitalize on a kill. So I think that's still good in that case. That keeps them that little bit more even with that gold difference there. And then now you have Trundle getting that little bit of an advantage with the assist there. Is behind a little bit on the CS, compared to Udyr, but that's Udyr's style. Udyr's style is basically let's farm a bunch as much as possible, try to get those invades, and see from there. But it's 10 minutes in, almost 11 minutes in. We haven't seen the dragon go over to either team yet, so I'm hoping we see that soon.
Yeah, and I do want to point out now, Kaiden's build first completed item here on the map, that Yumu's Ghostblade. I don't really know what I expected Misfortune Mid to build, but I don't think Yumu's Ghostblade was the #1 item on my list, as now Karito going to be ganked here by Warhead. Excellent bullet time flash coming out from Warhead just to make sure Kaiden is able to secure that kill. Meanwhile, on the bot side, there was a 2v2 going on. Unfortunately, we did not quite get to watch it, but I do just want to point out here, as the first 3 kills did go over to OMT, but they were not able to convert those kills into any objectives. The Dragon being taken now at 11 minutes, again, by OMT, but those first 3 kills didn't really translate into anything. Meanwhile, Team Ambition, they got 1 pick up on the top lane and immediately translated that into the first Rift Herald. Still not yet dropped, though.
Yeah, I don't think they need to drop it yet. I mean, it's just trying to find what's that best spot. I mean, you still have almost a little bit over 2 minutes before plating falls. So I think they're just going to have to decide on, you want to throw it in that mid lane? Do you need to be in top? Does it be in bot? For what's going to be the best thing.
Death Realm? Ridley popped the Death Realm against Bernoulli, then not really able to follow it up with any kills. Walked out, and I was like, all right, you can use this on me. Not going to be able to find anything through it, though. Is Realm Warp potentially looking to be used here?
It definitely was a potential, but I don't think it was really going to be necessary because we saw that, with the Death Realm, Bernoulli was able to pretty much get the tower, and at that point, Mordekaiser's not really going to fight that. So I think it's just more, in that case, he needs to kind of keep more in mind, okay, where is this prison going to keep them and everything like that, so that way. But oh my god, look at that burst.
I don't know where that damage come out from, but the polymorph on to kind of cancel out that ultimate there, walled up by the pillar as well. Kind forced to flash away, use that bullet time, trying to find 1 kill for himself. Unfortunately, just not quite able to do it now. 1 for 1. Or not 1 for 1, almost happening here on the top side as well. Ghost being burned up. Bernoulli fully stacked passive there onto Ridley, but it is not going to matter. Ridley finds his 2nd solo kill of this game 3.
Yeah, just unfortunately was not able to get that Nox and Guillotine on the best stacks, and did get a blow, but just was not able to execute in that process. And I think that's the kind of big thing with Mordekaiser is Mordekaiser already has some decent items. You're already getting there. If you keep track of it that little bit more, you'll be able to know. And of course, he has paid his tax. He has the quick save stash now. So unfortunately, you have to get that early, which means you're not going to get your mythic as quickly as he did. Now he has that Riftbreaker. He also is the first one with it.
Yeah, bot lane could be in trouble here for OMTZ. Dad finding the gank here. TP coming in from the top side, though, from Kane coming in here as well. Warhead for the counter gank. Zephyr still not quite dead yet. Kind in a 1v2 against the bot side members. Dad about to fall to Warhead here. 1 more auto could find it. Kind looking to find it for himself, though. Warhead able to secure that kill. 2 for 0 in favor, once again, of OMTZ.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here is you have Sivir, who, again, we talked about is more like comfort pick, but is also able to block with that spell damage, for the spell shield, is able to get that. Also, jeez, yeah, look at that boomerang. That boomerang.
Dark Harvest.
It's the unfortunate thing when you do go Dark Harvest is you're going to be able to burst more, especially with that. But yeah, just showing why Sivir is that good pick into this comp, just because you have the movement speed, you get the extra movement speed from Karma, you get the extra movement speed that you could also put onto Warhead. So that's kind of the comp they're playing. There's a little more move speed.
Yeah, movement speed is a very strong stat that not a lot of people really know how to use, right? Unfortunately, we don't get that Cloud Soul in this game that really does just emphasize that movement speed even more, but especially on Misfortune, your W is just
Never
there for
falter.
movement speed, and now you also have a Yumu's to buff that up a little bit as well, right? And apparently Yumu's does a whole lot of damage on MF. I don't know where that came from. I don't see MFs rushing Yumu's usually in my solo queue games, so maybe a little bit in Worlds.
Yeah, Worlds, I would definitely say you're going to see that more just because of the fact that, Moose is that good, more lethality style. You get that extra damage ahead of time. It also gives you that move speed again, so you're able to get that a little bit closer, which sometimes is what she needs, or that escape tool that she kind of lacks. Just because she does get hit and is not able to move that quickly, then she could use that to kind of either close the gap or create the gap that she needs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like the engage versus disengage that we've mentioned a lot throughout the series, right? Like you need a little bit of both, and the fact that MF has both in her own kit, plus of course like Zephyr having an E monster shield on top of them, that can be engage or disengage. Ridley could flash in for an engage with his ult, or decide to disengage with it if he does pop it onto Adi or someone else. And now Ridley having to use that ultimate onto the dad, and now a 1v2, trying to make it a 1v1, wants to find at least one kill before the Shadow Realm does pop. Flash coming out from Ridley, but unfortunately not quite enough damage to find one kill for himself. But now back here on the bottom side, it looks like Taco Cat is about to be caught out here, just going to flash over that wall, but still picked up by the MF ultimate.
Yeah, and this is where we see it very perfectly why this comp is definitely working. And I know we questioned the MF. I'm gonna stop talking.
Adi, I don't think there's anywhere left to run there, my friend. Very nice pickup kill there by Ivor. Very well played dive from OMTZ there in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Adi didn't really have a lot of mana. Obviously was pretty much at half health or less, so because of that, it's just a very easy susceptible gank for him to deal with, and it's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to get out. So, but you have to look at that. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, MF is doing really well right now. She's got a lot of burst that's needed. She's going at lethality build. Kind of wonder if we're going to see the same thing potentially come out of Sivir here for this lethality build. I'm assuming that's what she's going, since I see the Dirk and the Caulfield's hammer here going for maybe Dustblade. But yeah, I mean, if we see that, I mean, that's just really great place. Oh.
It's okay, Kirito. No, nobody saw it. It's okay.
No, it's not. It's fine.
Yeah, no one saw it. Second Rift Herald being started up here by Team Ambition. Now they are down around 6,000 or 7,000 gold right here, so I don't think they really want to be taken, especially at disadvantaged numbers, right? But really, any strong 5-on-5, it is going to go very much in favor of OMTC just because of the amount of gold in their wallets. This flash coming out from Zephyr, looking for an engage here onto Kirito, but he's just about able to flash out of the E range from Ridley.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of amazing fact is like, hey, you have
several being popped now, looking for an engage here from OMTZ. Flash from Warhead onto the backline members. Their dad not allowed to move whatsoever. Lulu ultimate burn just to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but it is not going to matter. Really picking up the first kill of what could have been a much worse team fight for Team Ambition.
Yeah, if you look at this, they got the rift here going on to OMTZ here. You have Zeus is still doing very well for the fact that they're capitalizing on these fights. I mean, you saw it. They all just popped their movement speed. Basically was able to get in very quickly, very easily, and do a lot of damage. And it's showing here. Like, really, look at him.
Oh no, Bernopoli, he was like, all right, I'm not gonna go to the team fight. I know we're not gonna win the team fight, so let's just split push instead. And then not only does he not have enough damage to take that outer tower fast enough, but he also gives another kill to Ridley, now sitting 5-1 on this Mordekaiser.
Yeah, and this is that 5-1 that is just showing why, people were questioning last game why they didn't have the Mordekaiser top and they just did the Mordekaiser jungle. And now they kind of realize, hey, yes, this Mordekaiser top is definitely going to do a lot to Monopoly. and the fact that the dad hasn't really been able to do too much other than just the one or two ganks really at the top, and because of that, now it shows. And within team fights, yeah, he's getting some decent pillars, but unfortunately, they're just still able to move around it and siege onto them and get the kills that they need to. So, I think the big thing, what's the big thing that they need to do right now? Obviously, besides getting kills onto OMTZ here. What does Team Ambition need to do?
Well, they have closed the gold lead a little bit. It is no longer that like 7, almost 8,000. It is slightly less, but I mean, you're still sitting 0-2 in Dragons. You're 1 kill away from it having been a perfect game once again for OMTZ, right? It's like, it's looking very rough for Team Ambition, but I don't think that necessarily means they're out. You still have Carito sitting level 12. He does still have the Darksteel fully stacked tier now on the rise. This is kind of like the last shining hope here for Team Ambition if they want to try and make it and hold that first seed that they have been holding throughout this entire split so far in Sophomore League, right? It's like you need to be able to get more gold onto your last remaining scaling pick, right? That would be a rise, because Lucian, he's past the point of really having that lane dominance that you usually pick him for. Darius, definitely the same. Lulu and Trundle are there purely to support this rise.
Exactly, I would agree with that. And oh, look at that, it's a mountain drake. So we're gonna see a mountain soul,
Wow.
not an ocean soul this time around. But it's fine. I only get like 1 out of like the 20 tries I do at that.
Oh, okay, that was a really clean Everfrost there from Carito, but unfortunately it is not going to matter. You see, he accepts his fate there. Actually, he pings Misfortune Flash, but unless it's a Spectator bug, I don't actually think Misfortune flashed.
No, I don't think she did either. I think it just might be like a visual thing. I don't know if it's like with the skin or just thinking that, hey, how could she get there so quickly? But
oh, but that's gonna be a flash out coming out from Monopoly Zephyr. Absolutely not allowed to walk there. No words for you, poor support.
no, and unfortunately, this is the problem when you try to take fights in the jungle, is that when you have a Trundle, the Trundle can force you to be like, hey, I have a Darius here. He's coming after you. And just unfortunately he's just gonna take out Zephyr there. But in this case, we look at that now they're getting a little bit more gold towards them. Unfortunately, they did lose the third Drake to OMT Zeus in that case. So now OMT Zeus is on that sole point. They're heavily focusing on farming their jungler. Like, look at that. He is up almost 70 CS. So I mean that's just crazy to look at. Still hasn't died. Is only just sitting on 2 items and boots. So I mean this just shows that, hey, he doesn't really need to do a lot other than, again, just to be that supportive person of get that burst chicken, get that stun when you need to, and just to kind of just survive and peel for both of your ADCs, because Chitin's just doing so much damage. Look, he has the Eclipse. He is the Ghost Blade now. I'm assuming it's going into Lord Dobbs. I don't know what else he's gonna do with that last whisper there, but it's definitely gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, this has been a really rough game for Monopoly up there at the top lane. I think that was somewhere around a 20-minute, maybe 21-minute Triforce first item for the Darius. That is absolutely not what you want for a lane bully for someone such as Darius, right? Because he had to pay that 1,300 QSS tax, and that set his mythic behind by probably 5 or 6 minutes. That was pretty huge for just how behind he was. Like, yes, he had to pay that QSS tax, especially for laning phase, but maybe he might have paid it a little bit too early, because that set him behind in that first power spike item just far too long now.
Right, and it's taking it a little bit longer than he would have liked. You're still getting bullied in lane. I think in this case, the Ignite was definitely a really good choice for really compared to the TP in that case, because now you're able to burst him down in fights. You get him blown off, you get bonk and just Ignite, and he's dead. So, I think that's the one thing that Monopoly kind of needs to remember is like, hey, if it hits more than just you, kind of a thing, it's already a diluted bonk. at that point coming out for Lily. So I think that's what he needs to kind of just realize is like, hey, I need to make sure there's one of my CS around that if one of my minions can help protect me, essentially in that case, that will kind of help, for more of those solo fights in lane. But uh-oh.
Oh, Ada using that E, going in forward, really nice pillar there to cancel out that bullet time for Kain and just keeping Adi alive. He did actually use that heal to try and get a little bit more movement speed to try and go in, but I mean, it's so hard to kill Kain now. He has that 600 shutdown on his end. Once again, that's around, I believe, 7 or 8 CS a minute, despite how chaotic and how hectic this game has been. He's just been absolutely on top of CSing this entire series. No matter how fiesta this game has been, we're sitting at 15 kills at 25 minutes. This time last game, we still had 7.
And this time last game, I mean, and this is what we've kind of, changed from the first game to now is like, hey, first game, we didn't have a lot of the first 10 minutes. Second 10 minutes now, we had more, even more now. And then we look at, okay, even before this 30-minute mark, there's so much going on right now. So I think the big thing is showing that, hey, Ridley definitely is really good on his Mordekaiser here. And, oh. Wow. You
I
guys
didn't
say
see
more.
Yeah, like you can talk about how Rylai's is like a huge what do you call it, power spike for Mordekaiser, right? And then on top of that, he has a little bit of anti-heal with Bramble as well. It's like these are the biggest points for Mordekaiser. After this, he does start to fall off. Oh my. Man, if I was Lulu right there, I would absolutely be crying. And now at this point, it is just how fast can we smack them around with our wallets, Dad? He can only run for so long up until he is finally taken out. Warhead will fall, but does that even stop them? As it does look like this will be the end of the game, the end of the series. The 2-1 going in favor of OMTZ, tying for first place, 5-1 against Team Ambition.
I mean, yeah, it's just showing here again why this is really powerful. I mean, just, yeah.
Don't worry about this. The Nexus is dead as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Nexus is dead. I mean, there's just padding their stats and everything here for the league and everything. And yeah, I mean, you look at it, you still had your 2 ADCs, went deathless. They put out a lot of damage there. I guess we could note that Sivir didn't need a mythic.
Who
But
needs
you know what?
Mythic? Overrated.
But yeah, just showing again why if you have a dominating top laner, which yeah, even though Brownlee was that last game around with Darius, actually really just kind of took over and kind of put on that show of like, hey, this is why we choose Mordekaiser. We put in the wrong lane last time, and now we're showing why this is definitely more of that powerhouse and everything. But yeah, look at these damage numbers. I mean, look at that MF. The MF is
Yeah.
to
The mid lane lethality misfortune, similar to that of the Iron Miss or Caitlyn lethality mid lane. That is my favorite thing to watch. But now we get it on the misfortune this game. It was very fun to watch. I mean, she found her very first kill in that gank in the bottom lane, right? Like she came out through the tri-brush behind Adi and Taco Cat, and then she landed the E into the ultimate, and there was really nowhere left to run. Like Adi had to burn both summoners. She looped right back around and found the first kill of the game, and it was like, oh well, I guess kind of just it really does know how to play all of these different types of champions. Game 2, he was on Kale. How different of a champion is Kale to Misfortune?
completely two different styles. I mean, look at it that way. Kale is that like aggressive 8p range burst that only gets there when you hit late game. And they hit late game and again wasn't able to do much in that second game, but look at, the lead that you had with the first game where you were playing Vax compared to now with Chitin on that 7-0 and 3 with the MF here. I think the big thing is like you said, the gank worked perfectly. And again, it was a sneaky gank. That sneaky gank just kind of just set off that snowball that now they were able to, again, just ride that momentum and able to take the game.
Yeah, and with that, that will be the end of our series and the end of our broadcast here tonight. Very exciting best of three. Going to a game three. We don't get to see that every week for sure. The top two teams now tying for first place, 5-1 for both of them. I don't exactly know how tiebreakers work, whether, I mean, it can't be a head to head now, so they're going to have to play some other future game in the future future game in the future to decide their seating in playoffs between OMTZ and TAGA here. But once again, this will be the end of our broadcast here tonight. If you want to catch another game from Runeterra Academy, of course, we do have junior class, same time here. Actually, not same time, 8 p.m. EST here on the stream tomorrow night, and senior Monday night here as well. Once again, I've been Cam Comp, joined by Gigatron here for your sophomore games here tonight. If you want to see more sophomore, come back here on next Saturday. We will catch you back here again tomorrow night for once again junior class. Thank you for watching and have a great night.
Have a good night, guys.
Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through? Am I breaking through?